Welcome back, students. Yes, I'm Kavita Jangra, here back again in front of you. See, in my previous video, I have shown you the review of the sericulture. In this lecture, we are going to deep inside it, that what are the steps being taken and how it is being processed. Okay, further the processing and the production of silk worm for the silk. Okay, how it is done. See how beautiful the silk is. Before I go into it, I want to tell you the history of silk, that how it comes into being. Have you know or do you think about it? Have you ever thought about it, how the silk comes? There is a silk root and it origin basically from, yes, from the China. There was a Chinese tale. The discovery of the silkworms, that is silk, was by an ancient empress, that was Li Zhu, and the wife of the emperor. One day she was drinking, yes, the tea under a tree. What happened? The silk cocoon fell into her tea and the hot tea loosened the long strand of the silk. As she picked it out, what happened? What she see? She sees that it started wrapping the silk thread around the finger. And what happened? She feel the sensation of the, yes, exactly the warm sensations she feel around her finger. When the silk that ran out, she saw a small larva. As she keep on rolling that silk around her finger, slowly at the end what she see, there was a small larva, and she realized that this caterpillar larva was the source of, yes, exactly the silk. She taught this to the people and it became a widespread. See, the Chinese, the queen was sitting under a tree and she was drinking a tea. Meanwhile, what happened? Yeah, the silk cocoon, that is in the form of cocoon, fell into it when she was taking out. As the tea was hot, the threads were being separated out and she keep on, yes, rolling it. From there she get the idea, and this how this process is taken into. And the silk was discovered, yes, in China it was discovered, and the Chinese, they managed to keep the silk in a secret form over thousands of years. They don't want to share, they keep it as a secret. What happened? That it was a great source of wealth for the China, and no one actually knows how the silk came out of China. It is being thought that in 300 AD, that is, yes, after death, a Japanese expedition, then when you are going to some place, when you are exploring that place, the Japanese expedition, they succeeded in taking some silkworm eggs. They take the silkworm eggs and they were the 4 young Chinese girls to the Japan. Okay, and in 550 AD, the 2 monks were there. Monks are just like those who are going to worship of the particular religion or that. The 2 monks from the Byzantine Empire. Byzantine is a Roman empire, and they managed to smuggle. They smuggle the silkworm eggs out of the country, and they hide these eggs in the bamboo stick. Their walking stick. They are having the walking stick with them, and they hide those eggs in the bamboo stick. Okay, from there they take it from that place, and it's also said that silk was brought to India by Chinese princess. And how she bring that? She hide the eggs and mulberry seeds in the lining of the headdress. So this is the history of the silk. Because before we go into it, we must know that how the silk root has taken place. So this were the stories related to it. So let us talk about what is silk. Silk is a fiber that we get it from, yes, animal fiber. It's a fine, strong, soft and very shiny, lustrous fiber that produced by the silkworm. And in making their cocoons, that is something that it's like a cover that protects some insect while they grow. Cocoon is a protective layer that is protecting the insect. Then silk, it's a naturally lustrous fiber, shiny, that does not conduct the heat. Please note it down that it does not conduct the heat. That's why they are good insulators. It keeps the person warm in winter and cool in the summer. It suits according to the temperature of the season. In winter, you get the warmth from the silk, and if you wear in the summer, it keeps you cool. This rearing of the silkworm for obtaining the silk, that is known as sericulture. Okay, I think right now you got it, that what is sericulture? It's a silk farming, and it's an old occupation in India. Plenty of silk for the commercial scale, and the silk thread, they are obtained from the cocoon, the silk moth. There are variety of silk moth. It's not like only silk, one silk moth is there. There are variety of silk, and with the variation of silk moth, there are variety of silk too, that yield the different types of silk yarn: tussar silk, muga silk, kosa, and finally the mulberry silk. There are different varieties, and the most common silk is the mulberry silk. This is very famous. This is what we are going to study ahead, that is the life cycle of the silkworm. Before you go into it, that how it is being processed, how it is produced, you must know that what is the life cycle of silkworm. Once what happened in the first stage, egg is being laid, a female silkworm, the moth, they lay the eggs. After that, in the stage 2, what happened? The tiny caterpillar, this is the larva. This larva hatch from their eggs, larva will come out from the eggs and start eating the mulberry leaves. In the third stage, the larva grows so fast and they must shed their skin 4 times before they enter into the next stage. Before they enter into the 4th stage, they shed their skin, yes, exactly the 4 times. In the stage 4, what happened? See, this is the pupa. It sleeps inside the cocoon for 25 days, and after that, stage 5 will come. In this, a moth that will come out of the cocoon. Finally, in the stage 6, the adult moth lays the eggs again, and the cycle goes on. So I think you need to recall how it starts. It lays the eggs, then the larva stage, then the pupa, and finally the silk moth. So the life cycle of silk moth that we have studied from the picture, that is start from egg, then larva, pupa, adult. In the stage 1, what happens? In the beginning, the female silk moth, it will lay the eggs. It will lay the eggs on mulberry leaves. In the stage 2, the eggs are being hatched, that are in the small larva form, and that is within a week. The larva will feed on these mulberry leaves, and these are now known as the caterpillar or silkworm. Then in the 3rd stage, they will grow in size over the 3-inch. Caterpillar is now ready, and the next stage of the life is known as, this is the silkworm pupa, and outer this white portion, that is a silk cocoon. So an adult silkworm first weave a net, hold it itself, it swing the head side by side in the form of figure 8. They swing the head in the form of 8, and during this movement, what happened? The caterpillar, it secrete the protein, and they harden when it exposed to the air, and they become the silk fiber. This is how the silk fiber is produced. During the time of the movement of the, it moves its head in the form of the figure 8. When they are secreting, that is a protein is being secreted by them, and this will get exposed to the air. It will then harden, and this is finally they are getting the silk fiber. From here, the caterpillar, what will happen? It will cover completely by the silk fiber. Slowly and slowly it is being fully covered. It will stay there for 3 to 4 days, and the covering is known as the cocoon. This is what the protective covering that is developed as a inside a pupa. Then silkworm continues to develop inside that cocoon, and finally silk moth is being the next stage. You have to note it down here one thing, that pupa is the stage in the life history of the silk moth when the caterpillar that becomes encased in the hard shell of the silk fiber, and that hard shell of the silk fiber is known as cocoon. Exactly. The silk moth, stage number 4. In this stage, what happened? It is encased in the cocoon. Here you can see, and it is fully now developed into a, yes, the silk moth. After completing the development, the cocoon is split up and beautiful silk moth comes out of it. This is how the end of the last stage, the silk moth. And here need to note down few of the things. These are the silkworm that is developing inside the cocoon. The pupa is not allowed to mature into silk moth. As we have studied about the stages of the silk moth, but need to note that for processing of the silk, we are not allowing that silkworm to enter into silk moth. Before it enters into silk moth, we need to collect that. Okay, and this is why, because the breaking of cocoon that will cause a damage to the thread, and it also affect the quality of the silk. So the good quality of silk thread is as soon as the cocoon is formed, developing the silkworm or pupa, it is being killed, and silkworm that are allowed to live, then it mature into silk moth, and again they will lay the eggs, and further the silkworm and further cycle continues for the another stage. This is how the pictorial representation will clear you. Once the female lay the eggs, then these are hatched. Silkworm here, this is known as the molting stage, because 4 times they are going to shed their skin. After that, the silkworm begin to spin, wove the thread and form a cocoon. Inside the cocoon there is a moth, and this finally will go to the, yes, the again silk moth. This is all about the process, how the life cycle of the silk moth. In our next video, I will tell you that how you can produce or how you can process that silk once you have fed it on the mulberry leaves, and finally how you are getting the threads of the silk. So till now, just stay tuned with it. We'll meet you soon.